Hello again, citizens, and welcome back to another episode. This is Whole Truth number 16 for the week of 20 January 2014. Let's get started with the robertspaceindustries.com website recap. This week on the website, we have some concept art for the Geddon system. This was one of the original unlocks from Star Citizen's launch campaign way back when. Geddon is a Banu system. Its single planet, Tat Ko, is not a kind environment for humans, but it's ideal for the Banu. The underground volcanoes produce the system's main export, black glass, for making circuitry and oil they call planet blood that can be used in high-end space engines for lubricant. The planet has a wild weather system that can be deadly on an average day, and that's the reason the cities are enclosed and exist beneath the planet's surface. These cities are driven into the planet like giant spikes and are referred to as spires, and docking on one can be extremely difficult. Crashes and accidents are fairly common. The planet is also home to a product called bad ice found in the polar regions. Bad ice is a highly illegal frozen combination of water and refinable poisons. On Spectrum Dispatch this week, we received a new lore post called This Day in History, A Dangerous Flight. We learned a little bit about Russell Vallum's creation of a near or faster than light speed engine. As we all know, there are no FTL drives in Star Citizen, so you should read this to find out what happened. It's pretty interesting. Lore Builder number 12 is on squadrons and eccentrics this week. In relation to squadrons, we get some brainstorming on commander ranks for smaller capital ships, as well as some talk about logistics. On the topic of celebrities, we have 3 different examples written by the community about fictional characters. One is a bum, one is the host of a variety show, and one is a very controversial critic. If you want to contribute, you can still get in on this and write a 1-paragraph description of a celebrity for the world of Star Citizen. We met another one of the developers named Brandon Evans. Brandon is a UI programmer currently working on the dogfighting module out of CIG's LA office. He's working on things like the targeting system in your ships. There's a video of him to check out if you'd like to learn more. Chris Roberts visits Foundry 42, the team making Squadron 42, and we get a video of his walk around in the office. If you watch closely, you can see a couple of really cool things being developed on the monitors around the office, but mostly this is just a walk around the office. Except for that mining robot! A couple of other quick updates. The winners for the Foundry 42 contest were announced, and there is a sale on extra small size shirts on the RSI website. At $5 a pop, being tiny might have just saved you some money. It was a little bit of a sparse week on the website, so let's move on to the Wingman's Hangar recap. The biggest news this week on Wingman's Hangar was the organization's update. We get to see some shots and a brief explanation of the system. The chat system is about to be replaced, and an email was sent out to subscribers with an invite to begin testing it. There's one of those subscriber perks we talked about before that might be coming in the future. The organization system is close to launch and will initially feature being able to create your organization as well as tools to manage memberships. Next up will be more tools to do things like tag your members with specific jobs, division charts, blogs, news, private forums, voting systems, and a calendar. So let's find out who Ben Lesnick's MVP of the week was. It was Phelan for his post, Common Misconceptions About Star Citizen Mark II. This is an excellent summary for anyone wanting to learn all the basics about Star Citizen. It's very organized and it's a great summary. Thanks, Phelan. Let's see what we can find out in forum feedback. Due to the information this week, these are going to be highly paraphrased, but all the answers are coming from Ben Lesnick and Wingman himself. Why is there no thread in the revamped Ask a Dev forum for ship development? I think most of us are dying for more specific updates on how each of the ships are coming along. The answer is you should ask the devs, the artists, the designers, whoever's responsible for each category. You should pick which area is appropriate and ask it there. Are we going to be able to explore planets similar to Mass Effect? Well, we have vehicles to make that process faster. Not at first. It's something we're looking at down the road. We're not going to have procedural generation at first. There's a lot of planets, landing zones, asteroids. The focus is exploring space, and there's a lot of content in space. I was wondering if we might see historical ship names in the UEE Navy, such as the Ticonderoga, the Sarasota, etc. Yeah, absolutely. However, we want to get across that there's 900 years of extra history, so you'll see a lot of names referring to battles between 2014 and 2943. The Idris Corvette is an example, named after a famous battle. Read the fiction on the website for more. When are you going to stop adding stretch goals and just extra funds to hire more staff to finish the game? We're already using the extra funds to hire more staff with every stretch goal. The published goals are just a little example of what they're doing with those extra funds. We also took a poll previously and fans wanted us to keep doing stretch goals, so that's what we're doing. Can you explain more about the search and rescue system and what ship you should take? There is no one best ship. If you want to do search and rescue, you should pick up one ship you like and build it out to that direction. Tractor beams, living accommodations, the Cutlass, the Freelancer, the Starfarer, Corvette, any of those could work. Given that all of the alpha slots are gone, will we be able to change pledges without losing our alpha slot? Once you have an alpha slot on your account, it's there for good. You can upgrade or side grade and it'll stay with your account forever. Was wondering if Star Citizen will have one-off weapons, shields, that will not be able to be purchased but must actually be found. Say some lost races artifact with unique but balanced properties. Absolutely. There will be stuff for you to find that other people are going to want to take from you. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff out there, and we can consistently keep adding that stuff over time. It'll be good for salvaging and exploring jobs, and we will see the Savage ship soon. One of the most iconic images in Star Wars is the X-Wing opening up to attack, or the Lambda folding up to land. Any plans for transforming spacecraft? Yes, some ships already do, like the Aurora's flaps or the Constellation's engines. With larger ships, will we be able to simply sip a cup of coffee and watch the action, or will I have to actually be involved in the combat and combat stations even if I'm the commanding officer of the ship? You are going to have to actually play the game. Will the initial version of the dogfighting module be single player? First will be multiplayer DFM, then multiplayer Hangar once PlanetSide is working. Alright, now we're moving on to the answers from Chris Roberts himself on 10 for the Chairman. If our first character plays through Squadron 42 and then later dies in the persistent universe, does the benefactor automatically have citizenship? Or would there be the option for that character to enlist and you could replay Squadron 42 if you'd like? We haven't really thought of this in terms of citizenship across family trees. If it didn't transfer, then we would definitely give you the opportunity to regain it. There's a rumor floating around general chat that once you fly a ship in the dogfighting module that you own, you can no longer melt that ship. Is that true? Or does that only apply once the packaged ship is applied to the characters in the persistent universe? Chris said, we haven't made a decision on this yet. Definitely once the game is live in the persistent universe and you apply your package to an in-game character, then you will not be able to melt it. For the dogfighting module, we'll probably give you a pass so you can fly around and still melt it, but we're not promising this yet. How will contracts work between organizations and individuals? Will there be a system in place within the game or organization module that will allow organizations or individuals to negotiate contracts, insure cargo or assets involved, and finalize payout? Chris said, we'll definitely have a system to handle these sorts of things. We may even have a system where you can put money into escrow until a job is performed. Maybe someone even administers that for a fee. Also, we're going to have a system to rate people where both parties can rate each other and others can later view the ratings. Will you be able to hail NPC ships and threaten them to drop their cargo on the off chance it will save their ship? If so, will there be a randomly generated personality for NPCs, some that fight, some that flee, or cowards that will drop their cargo and run? Chris says, absolutely. The goal is for the NPCs in the game to feel and appear like real people, so that you don't even know if it's an NPC or not until you get up close. We're already designing NPC behaviors like this. Will all ships have artificial gravity? If so, how does that affect the G-force system you spoke about for dogfighting? Not all ships are going to have artificial gravity. Most of the bigger ones will have artificial gravity when you walk around. Also playing with the idea that for some you'll just have magnetic boots. We're already modeling combat to account for both anti-gravity and zero-G. It could be fun to disrupt borders by disabling gravity. It doesn't affect G-force systems for dogfighting. The Hornet doesn't have anti-gravity since you're strapped in. In bigger ships with anti-gravity, you won't be able to pull maneuvers as hard as you could in smaller ships anyway, since that's a trade-off for having bigger ships. Will we ever be able to play as the other alien races? If so, will we have an expansion pack of sorts similar to Squadron 42, but with an alien storyline? Chris said definitely down the road. That's a longer-term expansion goal for the persistent universe. We already have a crazy amount of asset generation to do for currently planned content. We would probably create a companion single-player experience for it. Will the next great starship be available as a pledged ship? I can't wait to see what some of these teams have come up with and maybe even buy it if I like it. If the ship fits, fly it. Chris said it will definitely be available to everyone and in the persistent universe. We're currently debating, but we'll probably let fans choose which kind of ship it will be. May we disable our weapon systems in order to meet the energy requirements of a high-capacity shield? In turn, if shields do go down, can we forward power back to the weapon systems on the fly? Chris says yes, that is part of the core design. You're able to do energy management between power plant, weapons, engines, shields. Even potentially, depending on the shield, you could be able to divert power between different segments of the shield or between different weapons. Will we be able to buy parts of ships as well so that we can build our own ships from them? Specifically the non-human ships that we can't buy from a storefront and have had no luck capturing in the wild. Chris said, the way it works is that you obtain a hull, then attach weapons and equipment to it. We're not currently set up to buy, say, a rear wing and a fender and then put them together in a hybrid ship. You definitely won't be able to build ships out of parts like this at the beginning. Who knows down the road though. You will be able to buy different equipment and items that might be alien and have to be adapted to work on your ship though. What kind of interaction can players have with non-hostile NPC ships? Can we request repairs, refuels, and resupply assistance from passing carriers, or trade goods with merchant ships? Chris says absolutely yes, those are all goals. As mentioned previously, we want to make NPCs appear to be like players and obscure that a ship is piloted by an NPC, at least from a distance. Well, that does it for Q&A. Let's move on to some other news. On the Ask a Dev forum, we dug up some juicy tidbits about the physics-related systems in the game from John Pritchett, a physics programmer at CIG. John has a degree in engineering physics, which combines classical physics with mechanical, electrical, and computer engineering. His degree is focused on control systems with an emphasis on robotics. He was part of the development of a game called Trade Wars 2002 and handled physics for an Xbox 360 game called Rocket Bowl 360 that used PhysX. John goes on to respond to some of the physics-related posts. He talks about dynamic inertia of ships and gives an example. If an enemy blows off your wings, that will change the mass and moment of inertia of the ship. There's a lot of info there about these systems, and you should definitely give it a read if you're interested in finding out more. This next bit of news is about a game that might send chills down your spine. It could have you clenching your teeth and your butt cheeks.
I'm Samuels. I work for the company. It's about your mother. We think we may have found her, Amanda. We get to shut the book. Ripley.
That game is Alien Isolation. I know, Colonial Marines was terrible. Well, this game isn't made by the same developer, and I want a good Alien universe game so bad that I'm gonna will it into existence for you guys. This game takes place 15 years after Alien and 42 years before Aliens. The focus is on Ripley's daughter Amanda, who's searching for her mother. During this, she's ordered to go to a space station to recover data that can explain Ripley's disappearance, but something is already there. So keep your eyes open for this one. I think it's going to be a good one. There's one or two little hands-on things out there already that seem to say it's going to be good, so just keep your fingers crossed. That concludes another episode. We hit 6,000 subscribers last week, so thank you once again to the community for that. You guys are making this possible, and I'm grateful for your support. Our community over on the revamped website is kicking and alive, and I've met a fair amount of new folks that found us via this show and from Reddit. So thanks for coming over. It's been great to see you guys being active on the forums. I hope to meet more and more of you guys there. So I'll see you all again next week on The Whole Truth. Goodbye.